Hi everyone, Christine at SparkBird Studios here, and I'm ultra excited today for so many reasons. One, and this is the most important, is I have to say thank you and welcome new subscribers, because the response to my video, particularly of my cousin's journal from a few days ago, has been so overwhelming and so heartwarming. Your suggestions, your comments have just really been uplifting, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. You know, I'm here to show you things that I do, but as much I'm here to learn from you and share your creative process. So this whole day, this whole week rather, between the YouTube and Etsy has just been phenomenal. So that said, that's as gushy as I'm gonna get. Just know that you're loved, and we have to get on to today's task, because I awoke this morning with what I thought was the solution to a problem I'd been having for a while, and that was with covered paper clips. I'd never really found covered paper clips that I was in love with, and I'm not sure, it was a stroke of something this morning, and I hopped out of bed and I ran to the studio at like 4:30 and gave it a try, and it worked elegantly. So I don't know if anyone else has done this this process or this technique. I'd love to know it if you know if somebody has. You know, I haven't been to the end of the internet yet, so it could be out there. It seems like several versions of everything do exist. But anyway, this is what I did, and I hope it's useful to you. It's so useful to me that I've kind of gone crazy with it. But essentially, I've made covered paper clips that can act as tags or place markers, or just paper clips. And you can see here are a few that act as tags. In here, this one I put a little dangle on, and it has a pocket in it. And on the back, this one says important and has some lace on it. The beauty of my process, or this process, is that you only have to print on one side of the paper, and it will work with printouts that don't work. I mean, that can't print edge to edge. So if you always have the white border here, that's okay. You can still print out a sheet, make these paper clips with no problems whatsoever. I'm creating this kit for my Etsy shop because I like birds, and these are going to be really cute, but you could use any paper, any pre-printed paper that you get. This I printed off the printer, but if you have pre-printed scrapbook paper, whatever, as long as you know two dimensions or two measurements, so to speak, there's no other math involved. And that's the beauty of it. It just makes me so happy. So a couple of other things I like about it are that the inside is finished as well. So it makes for a sleek look. It slides in and off papers beautifully, perfectly. They can be decorated. You can see here I did decorate a few. Here's another one with a pocket and a blank tab that could be written on. You can do a couple of different kind of corner treatments. On most of them I just rounded them off, but you could just as easily choose to do this like Victorian corner cut deal, like this guy here. And that's easily done, and I'll show you how to do that. So anyway, so let's get started, because I'm, again, really excited by this, and I hope that it's something that you all can use and put in your journal or your day planner, or who knows, or just clip papers together. That was the original goal. I needed to clip some papers together. So here we go. Let's get started. All right, so as I mentioned, all you need to do is have printouts, and I'm going to go trim these off because we don't need the white border, and then I'm going to tell you the two important measurements. And if you're using my kit, it's easy. There's going to be a line for the first fold, and all the folds kind of build on that. But even if you're just using plain paper, knowing two measurements, you're golden. So give me a second, I'm going to go trim. Okay, so I've trimmed my pages, or my paper, my design in this case, and the only other things you'll need for this fun project are paper clips. I'm using jumbo, and that's how this folding pattern is designed. I will probably do a design or figure out the dimensions on a smaller paper clip, but right now it's just for jumbo. And honestly, once you see this, you'll figure it out yourself if you want to use a smaller clip. Fabri-Tac glue or some sort of good heavy fast drying glue, a good pair of scissors, and if you want a corner rounder, and of course I want. And if you're in Christine's club, inking. But we're not going to ink today because I know you're busy and you need to get on with your life. So I'm going to show you this and you're going to love this. All right, so first of all, like I said, if you get one of my kits for these paper clips, there'll be a line for where you want to fold it. If you're using plain paper, that's, you know, just that you grab from anywhere. The dimensions you want to keep in mind are these. One, you want to start with a page that's 10 1/4 inches long, okay? The width doesn't matter, that'll just dictate how many paper clips you can fit. And so the width is 10 1/4, and you want to fold so that 1 1/4 inch is revealed on this edge. Okay, so if that line weren't there, that's how you would know where to fold. And I'm just lining it up there. That's 1 1/4 inch. That's how long the reveal is. Okay, so I should have gotten right. Oh, look at that. Okay, so after you've done that, it just gets easier and easier. That's all the math you need to know. And if you need to know from the other way, like if you're one of those other brain people, this fold is at 4 1/2 inches from this edge. But I find it easier to just do it this way and then I don't have to measure anything. So now you take your paper clips, as many as you can fit on the page. In this case, I'm doing 5 different paper clips, covered paper clips. And that's the beauty of it too. You can really gang these up. You could probably fit 8 or 9 on here if you're doing them slender. I happen to be doing some big ones. What did I say? I'm doing 5? Yeah. So I'm gonna do 5. So you're going to put the paper clips on so that the long side of the paper clip, this guy, is on the short side of the folded paper. And the short side of the paper clip is on the long side of the folded paper. So let's do this. All right, I know that one's really short. That one's narrow at the end. So I'll put that one there. And these guys will all just get kind of distributed. Now you get to move them. So this is not a crisis. You don't have to know exactly where they are. It just helps to have them all in place when you do the folds. So now that they're in place, we're going to fold. And we're going to fold to the bottom of this, oops, the bottom of the longer side of the clips. We're just going to come up and fold. And you just want to make sure that while you're folding, the paper clips stay on the paper. So one way to assure yourself of a reasonably straight fold is to line up these edges. Say, okay, I believe my sides are reasonably straight. I'm going to fold that way. All right, fold number 1, done. Flip it over. Now we're looking at the short side. You take this lip here and fold it up. And again, just line it up with the edges, and then you should have a pretty straight fold. Technically, it's possible you could just trim this off, but I think the reinforcement that it provides is not a bad thing. Okay, so one more fold. We're going to be on the short side still. We fold it back against itself. Again, lining up your edges makes for a tidy fold, assuming your first cuts were straight. Now here's the deal. Remember I said there are 2 kinds. I think I said there are 2 kinds. There's a flush kind and a tabbed kind. So we're going to first make the tabbed kind. And to do that, you flip it back over. You know, we just did our little fold this way. We're flipping it over, and we're going to line up the edge with the bottom fold. So basically just meet the 2 edges and fold. Okay, so now there'll be enough room for a tab at the top here. Oh, I wasn't very tidy, was I? I want a bigger tab, so I'm going to just refold this a little bit. take the paper. So might have to trim just a little. Okay, so if you didn't want the tab, all you would have to do is, instead of folding it by matching this edge, you would just fold it to this edge. And I'm not going to do that here. I will show you on one, but you see what I'm saying? You would just fold it all the way against, flush against this edge, and then you'd have a little extra at the bottom, which you could just trim. I can do another one of those demos, but here's what we have now. So now there are paper clips inside each of these, and we can leave them there for now. It's just as easy. You take your scissors and holding the paper so it doesn't shift, you cut. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. That's it. These are now ready for glue. Well, they're technically not. So I can see here that this is the first time I've had to do this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to trim that bottom edge so it's flush in the back. Now you can open it up, and if for your sense of security you want to make an X on here to know where the paperclip goes back, that might help you. Also know it's the only upward fold. It's the only fold coming up that the paperclip returns to. So now, another great thing is we can chomp the edges. We can get to all these corners, make them lovely. That goes here. So any corner that you want to chomp, chomp. Now at this point, well, at a point coming soon, you'll see in a second, I would ink. And it'll kill me to not ink, but again, inking takes time and we don't have forever. So then this guy, I'm going to come back here and also around my back edges. Let me just make sure I've got all the edges rounded that I want. I do. All right, so this is the point at which I would ink, and I would ink from this side. I would take my little jobber here, put some ink, and hit all the edges so they're not white, and also hit some of the inside of this because, you know, white paper folded up always seems to look a little doughy in terms of the color. So I would do it, but it's up to you. So now we simply put back our paper clip. And I took it out because it's easier to get to these angles or these corners without a paper clip in the way. In fact, some of it you couldn't even get to easily. So now we simply glue, and gluing is as easy as the whole rest of this little project. And it goes as thus. Starting with the big, I always start with the big side. It's just I say always, I've only been making these things for a couple of hours, but I have decided to always start with the big side just to have some coherence in what I'm doing. So now we send this one up and just give it some love and time to dry. Now we can throw a little glue on the tab here because it just needs to get folded under. We don't have to worry about it too much. Now we add glue to either of these sides. I'll add it to here. And then we fold that one up. And then you got it. Last one. Oh, I didn't need to put glue over there. There's already glue. And see, that's using too much glue. Have to oh, one thing is you do want to hit the edges, and I haven't really been paying attention to whether I've hit the edges here, or at least smear the glue out to the edges, because you want that finished edge, especially if you're not going to ink it. So now this goes here, and we're going to let that go, and we're going to Get a little bone folder. Give it some love that way. Make sure it's all lined up. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Notice how I say gentleman. There's probably only one guy here based on my demographic. There you go. A beautiful little covered paperclip. Sorry, well, it shouldn't have taken me that long to get that word out, but it did. So this again has a little tab built in. Oh, and that's another thing. Once you've glued it, it's a good idea to grab a piece of scrap paper and shove it through and make sure there's no rogue glue keeping it closed someplace where you don't want it closed. So you just want to make sure that's good. That's beautiful. Right, that's how easy it is to get a beautiful, perfectly enclosed paper clip. Again, I don't know, that could have been done 300,000 times before. All I know is I woke up and loved this morning because I figured this out in my head, probably while dreaming. So now just to show you, had we done a flush version, we would simply have, instead of matching that last fold to this edge, we would have folded to there and trimmed thusly. So now we have one that's a little bit shorter, and you can see this will sit within your journal. This one will stick out, but you can take a label, put a label on it. Sorry, put your arm in the way. You know, anything can go here. You could decorate it and use a variety of, you know, collage ideas here. This one, I think, I mean, you could use a little lace over here. Well, that's very sweet. Anyway, you get the idea. So that's it. I hope it's helpful. I'm going to do a few more videos on this, but I figure we'll get you going because once you learn this, it is so easy. You'll be making hundreds of thousands of them just like I have. So thanks for your time. I appreciate you being here. Any ideas or comments are always welcome. And that's all for now. Well, here I am popping back in because I always forget to do something. I get so excited, like, oh, I have to go do things. Okay, this is what you need to know. To make the other type, the type with the inverted corners, it's this simple. So I'm going to do it on the skinny one because I think for my purposes, I will like that. So I'm going to take out the paper clip, and we know that it goes on the only upward fold when we put it back, or you could mark it. And looking at this, I see, okay, I'm going to want to invert the corners here, 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 here. But I'm only going to do it here because it's actually easier once it's glued together to get a clean cut and not have to worry about things aligning. You know, all those arcs would have to align otherwise. So to do this, I simply put it in my little happy chomper here, and I sort of eyeball it so that the corner would be in the center of the cut, you know, of the circle, and then just go for it. All right, so then we just do it again, and now you can see I've done those corners. So now I'm going to quickly glue this together. I will speed it up, so I promise to not say anything important or profound or memorable while I glue. I'm just trying to be fast here so you can go about your business. So now we wait just for it to dry. You do want to let it dry enough so that when you go chomping at it, it doesn't slide around like that. One thing you can do and should do still while it is still drying is shove a little paper in there, clean out of any glue that has gone where it ought not to have gone. All right, so let's give this a second to dry. Is that dry enough? I hope so. Okay, so even uninked. So now here we do the same thing that we did to these corners, but we're doing them all at once. And it's just gonna fly out of the cutter. That's the only difference. Oh, it didn't. It did this morning. They were flying everywhere. So again, I'm just eyeballing the corner cut, excuse me. And when I think I have it kind of, that the corner's hitting the center of the circle, just cut it out. There it is, like a little ticket or a Victorian corner. So just gives you some other ideas, things you could do with the same material. There you go. Off I go. See you again.